Test. I think it's working. So I found a really good video that I really wanted to watch about repository and JPA in general. I think this is the channel where I studied the most about security. But the thing is, about studying something like security, it seems like every other YouTube video seems to be doing it differently for some reason. And the architect behind Spring Security was a bit difficult for me to understand for some reason. So I actually plan on reading the repository here and also watching the video, but I'm still conflicted about which one to do first. But I think I'll watch the video first. Let me just speed it up.
For the most part, our repositories are very barren, very functional. We still get tons of methods with our JPA repository.
Exactly, we do.
Interface, but that doesn't even hold a candle to what is powerful or what is capable with something called query methods. Query methods are incredibly powerful.
Yes, they are.
We still get all this functionality. It's absolutely mandatory to understand how you can even extend on top of the repositories that we already have. And there's many ways to do this. I'm going to show you probably what you will need as a junior developer, but I'm also going to show you some things that you're going to need when you start working and just touch on those. But for right now, I'm going to show you how you can quickly just add.
So yes, query methods, our next in the list.
JPA will automatically create SQL for you. It's absolutely amazing. So the way that you do it, the easy way, there's very difficult technical ways to do this as well too, but one of the best and the easiest ways to do this is you just go into your actual repository. You can go into here, and let's just say we want to find the actual Pokemon and the reviews with the Pokemon. What you can do is you can find reviews by the Pokemon ID, and this would normally boil down to creating joins and having to do all types of complex SQL queries or write very relatively complex SQL queries, but in here, you can literally just type in this, and it will automatically generate the actual query for you. It's pretty amazing. So,
okay.
Well, Teddy, how does it actually do this? I mean, we're just putting a method inside of an interface. It can't just generate SQL query for us. Well, what's going to happen is Stream Data has an algorithm that's going to parse this right here and parse your actual line of abstract code right here, like an abstract method, and it's going to divide it up, and it's going to make an SQL query based on this predicate or subject predicate pattern. So first, you have to be able to identify the subject. We have a subject, we have a predicate, and the subject is going to be defined by, and the predicate is going to be the name, it's going to be the actual thing that you are searching for. So we have.
So the predicate is what changes from a database to database, while the subject is the one that mostly stays the same, or at least fixable.
Find by name, and look how many different ways that you can divvy this up. You can find by, you can read by, you can also have ands, ors, and you can quickly find by title, and you can even do things like search. There's a SQLite. If you don't know what a SQLite is, that's okay as well.
Yeah, it's alongside.
Title is, and you can quickly see how this very powerful naming convention or this naming structure can make it so that you don't have to write very complex.
Okay, let's actually try that part. Because I think I tried to write a word, but I didn't think it went well, so that's why I'm getting more into the whole JPA thing. Yeah, it's this one, right? Actually, let's also run our program. Okay, everything is working just fine. Let me also just open my Postman. We need that. So let's go to the repository. Yes, we have here find by. Okay, there is no by here, but the one before it had by and it didn't work. So the keyword is by. Exist by, delete by, find by, distinct. It's either find all or I need. Is there a better way to see all the words here? These are the logical operations, and then we have the keywords. We can try it. Give me the list of what was it called again? Subject keywords we can use in query methods. Maybe I should have specified that it's GPA query method. I meant in GPA query methods. We have find by, we have find all by, find one by. So we do have find one by. Okay, we can try find one by. Actually, let's cut this part also. Find by, and usually it should auto-complete it, but okay, let's pick a very simple command here. Find by, and then we add whatever we want. I have find by email. Is it working or is it not working? I am not sure. That's the main one, forget about that part. Where is the service? So this is the one for create user, where we used find user by ID. Here still find user by ID. Okay, how we try something else? How about we find all user by ID and then return a list. What data type should we return it by? I guess set of users. And then we say find all by ID, and then we enter long ID. Now to ask ChatGPT if that's the right way to write it. Is this the correct way to write it? And to file all entities. If you are trying to find multiple users by single ID. Okay, I see where. So how about no variable? We just return, if we just want to return all the users. How about this? Okay, no parameters. The method find all by ID is expected to take a parameter. I'm trying to think of something that we can take out of the database that we created, so that I can use this a bit more. If we want a list of how about we also have a set here from ID. Do we set as a parameter? Do we even need to give it? I think we do. From type long. So what? Capital? Set users, find all by ID. Wait, isn't that the same thing? But instead of ID, it's calling it IDs. Okay, still something missing. IntelliJ is not highlighting. I forgot the name. What do we call here? The keyword. Yeah. Writing the keyword. Does that mean it is wrong? I think the better approach will be to actually go from the repository till the service here, and from the service to the controller. Users, and then we have long extend GPA repository. I think everything looks fine by the fact that one already is working. How about if we wrote the same thing again? User by ID. Does it get highlighted once I started to use it? Is that how it goes? Let me think. What would be a common operation that a user would like to have? Let's say they want to change a password. Actually, let's check what do we have already to begin with. We have a way to create a user. Let me check the service here. So yes, we found the user by their ID, and then we create the user. And if the user is present, get the email, also user by ID. How about maybe you should add other fields so that we can have more operations, because I think only having name, email and ID is not enough. But let's say for context's sake we want to change the name. So I mean, even for us to change the name, we don't necessarily need to make it here. I'll probably say it's more related to the service. Creating a new user if the ID didn't already exist. And this one. find the user by the ID if the user is present to get the email based on the user's ID. Okay, how about if you want to change the email or the name, not sure what to call it. Okay, let's try just doing the change email, the change name, sorry, since we haven't used the name of it. Change the user's name. So what does it return? It's a post request. We will get the new information and then we want to add it. So we know the parameter will be void. Is it a void or there will be a return? I don't think there will necessarily be a return unless we want to make it go, but no, I don't think so. Public void change user name, and then the parameter that we will be getting will be a string and we call it name. So if we want to change the username, first of all we should get them by their ID, and then after getting their ID, when we get something by ID we get it as optional. So we already are facing one issue. We have to solve the ID thing, unless no need to. Probably need to make a diagram for this so my brain can actually start processing a bit faster. So again, we have our database here. Oof. Which consists of the ID that's automatically generated, and then we have a name and email. Let's say the front end here, we want to change the name. Let's say there was a button here so that we can change the already existing name. The name we have here is Tim. I want to press change, and then we have the service layer that we have. So what do we need to do in order to change? Do we need an input? Yes, the input should be the new name. That will be our input. Will there be an output? Probably not, unless you want to see it in that screen, but that's a different operation, since the one appearing here is the one getting the name from here. Yes, it's a different story. So now we know the input and output that we have. Now inside the database, how do we get the email? We have the method called .get name. And .set name also. So this is a case where we will be using the setter, not the getter, like we did last time. So what we will do is we will get the user, and then we will use the setter method here, to set the new name. Okay, let's see how will that work. So the first of all, we have optional, forgot the capital letter, optional users, and we will call it user like always, and then we say user repository dot find. I'm trying to do the same as this one. I mean, that one is still user by ID, just to be more specific. Optional users, user by ID. Yeah, the name of the class is written wrong, that's why. User repository dot find user by ID. The thing is, that method will find the user by their ID, and the parameter that we have here is the name. There is multiple ways to go around that, but let's say the hardest one would be to use the string name as the way. So we want to be able to find the user by their email. Sorry, name. Find users by name. I'll get optional here. And we'll get string here. Actually, doing the service layer may be the most productive one, since that's the first thing that comes to my mind when I'm trying to work. But we will see how it goes. So say string, call it name. And here we will say find user by name. And put here our name that we just got from the parameter. And now we have the class with that name. And now to solve the optional part, if users by ID, actually let's call it here by name. Dot is present, we will do the operation that we want, which is user by name dot set was it set? I think set name. Oh, that's the entire class, so we should get it first. I don't think so. Give me a second, I need to squash my brain for that one. So we now have, after we finished removing the wrapped optional around the user, so now we are supposed to have a user from a user name, user by name from type user, and since it's a user class, we should be getting the method from the user class, which is we have string name, and then we have set ID and set name. User by name, set name. For some reason it's not working, but it's not optional anymore. How did we solve that issue here? Ah, it's the opposite. Okay. Or wait, that's the thing. If it's present, we want it to work. If it's not present, we don't want it to work. Okay, here we didn't actually use the class itself because it's still in the wrapper. Even when we try to use the if, it's not removing the wrapper necessarily. Logically it does, but In the actual code it doesn't. So we actually cannot use that part here. So how about this part here? User.find user by ID, that's exactly the thing that we did, and if the user is present, we return user.get. Actually, let's just write it like this because it's a bit easier to write and deal with. Yeah, the method that we are forgetting is the get method. Is it something that I actually wrote in my graph also? Because the get one is important. Path variable. I think I will mention it here. And if you want to get the set class out of the optional, you need to add dot get before the, actually I need some space here, before the class methods. So what we are missing here is not that this is wrong, we are just missing that part. Okay, this is interesting. The name that we will be getting is the new name that we should be using, not the old name. So actually this will be this dot name, and this will be here the name. You know what, I ran into a similar issue before when using the this specifically with something like that. Because that means that this class will be only used with other string. And good thing that I still have my notes from school, because I need to check on them also for that part. It's been a long time since I checked them. I mean, the thing about programming is when you stop doing it for a while, you completely forget about it. And that's why I keep a lot of notes everywhere. I have to mention, since it will be used against a class that's user, we should be also mentioning this dot get, and then this dot get name. I'm not sure if we will be needing this part. I don't think the user that we'll be using against will be wrapped in optional to begin with. He thinks it's a user service. How do we solve that issue? Okay, that needs an extra step for us to know when, how we'll be getting the request. Will the request be involving two parameters? I mean, the easiest option will be for us to get the user ID and the user's name from the front end, but I don't think that's the purpose of the front end. The front end will just ask for the new name and the old name. So we want a method that gets the name first so that we can able to change it. So it will be still here, find user. No, since we'll be using the service class itself, we should be making another method that's entire purpose is to get the user's email name. But how will be getting that based on the user itself? So yes, another method that we'll be needing is get the user's name. Separation of concerns, basically. Instead of using this, we'll be using that class instead. Public, I mean this one will be giving back the string, and we will be calling it what should we call it? Change username. How about get user's name? And it takes, what does it take? It gives back a string, but in this case this is referring to the class itself, which is the user repository. So it takes a user repository and gives back. No, I'm not sure how we're doing that. It doesn't make sense, no? Again, let's refer to the class. Now we run into an issue of, yes, we are using the setter, yes, we are getting the user, but the input is a bit missing because we have two input actually, not just one. We have the new name and then we have the old name. But we don't have the old name from the front end, so we need to create it ourselves. So we have an entirely new thing here, which is we want to create, not even create, just get the user's email. But for us to get the user's email, sorry, name, what should we do? Get user name. The same way that we got the ID. How did we get the ID? It will be taking an input ID and then giving the user, find user by ID. If we want to find user by name, we give the name, then we get back. So okay, so it only starts working after we use it in the service layer, and that thing would work after that. Okay, I thought so also. So we have an optional user, we find the user by their name. But in that to work, we still need to get a user first. That's so we say here actually user. It will be as simple as just returning the user repository dot get and find user by name. That's it. And then we enter the user. But wait, it takes a parameter. This one finds the user by name. So okay, that will not work also. Well then, how does the front end yeah, I need to check how the front end will work. So we will have a session here open, then we will have the written name, and then you will have a button here, let's say probably in a circle, and when you press on it you will be changing your user, so you'll enter the new username. My question will be, will the front end send both the user all the information and new information at the same time? For us to answer this, we have to understand how the user is shown here to begin with. So how is the user shown here to begin with? This is the profile page, for example. So that should be our focus here, is the get the username. How do we get the username? We set find by ID, but we don't have necessarily the ID. I mean, we should have something in order to open the database to begin with. If someone is logged with their username and password, they will be given a session where they will be having everything. I should actually not complicate it too much, because I think I'm still missing the basic understanding of how the front end will send the stuff to the back end. That's one thing, but the more important thing is how session works and everything related to Spring security. So my only problem was how does the query method work, so I got a bit off sidetrack. Now I understand that if I don't actually use them, they will not shine, let's say. So that should be it. So what else?
Complex SQL queries. So in here, you may notice, but hey, this one's a little bit different. What about Pokemon ID? You can find nested queries. This is how you find nested queries. So we're in the review repository now, but if you want to go in and you want to find nested data, or if you want to be able to actually search by in a different table, what you do is you have this Pokemon ID pattern here, and what it will do is it will go inside the Pokemon actual entity, and it will find the ID. And there's even cases too where if the algorithm cannot figure out what you're trying to do or what nested actual data structure you're trying to go into, you can put a underscore there, and this denotes that you are trying to go into a actual nested entity. And sorry, I didn't mean to delete that. Okay, I guess I deleted it for good. So guess we just need to move on. So.
I think working with a bigger database will be the thing, and I see a lot of people working with the Pokemon database, so maybe I should also start working with it, but we will see. Is there, maybe I should have worked with the front end first? I don't think so, but so he did it with Angular and TypeScript, and that's how he created the front end. I see. Should have done the front end first, but it is what it is. I'm also late with the testing and some other stuff. Let me check this one.
Guys, this is Steady. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This video, I'm going to be kicking off the Angular course. People have been asking for the Angular course, and I'm excited to make it because I'm excited to code in some. I like to. Here's my philosophy on software development. You know what the best software framework, whatever it is? The best framework is the one that pays you. And Angular, still to this day, it's not the coolest, it's not the new, it's not the hot buzz, it's not React. I know that everybody wants to put React right now, but there's still tons of Angular jobs everywhere. And
yes, I agree. Well, I mean, my friend said to me they code in Angular still, so should probably also get to Angular.
already went through that, but there's also ways you can also add your own SQL. You can add this annotation for query up above. of,
Mm-hmm.
and you can insert your own SQL. I didn't expect anybody to know SQL, but this is how you do it. If you want to input raw SQL
That's
into
custom
the
query,
actual
yes.
JPA repository, you can do it just by adding this query annotation and adding it to the top of the So that is taken up.
So wait, another question that I have: when you type at query, do you write in JPQL or normal SQL? I'll be studying JPQL in a month from now, either way, so should not delve too much into it.
Let's go ahead into here, and we're going to actually start building this out. So obviously, first place that you want to start in your repository, and we're going to make a query method that's going to allow us to go within our repository and be able to create a method that will search for nested queries. So we go here, we're going to go review, and within here, we'll go find by Pokemon ID. So find by, and the IntelliSense from IntelliJ is going to do a lot of this for us. So IntelliSense knows what we're trying to do, and it's going to try to finish this out for us. So we'll go in here and we'll add Pokemon ID. And that should be pretty much it. We still have to test it, but that is how you go into a nested repository. So if you want to go inside the Pokemon and you want to find a Pokemon by the ID, and you want to find a repository that's associated with it, that's exactly what you do. And you can put the underscore right there. And if you want to search, just say for instance, you want to search by the actual reviews, you would just put the ID instead of having a Pokemon. So I hope that didn't confuse you, and I hope that makes sense, but that's what you would do.
So I actually know now that the issue wasn't the query methods themselves. The query methods will not show in blue unless they are used. I'll probably start to study them more and more while actually doing this. So JPQL, I actually will not be studying it now. I will be doing it in a month. Spring Boot documentation, I'll get to that part later. So more or less we're actually finished with it. What we're missing is the update, which one the one that we are trying to do. Okay, let's try to also do the update. Don't think that's necessary. You have the post mapping here. Create a user. And then you have getting the email of the user by ID. And next, since we are still working with the email, might as well just continue the trend. So we say post mapping. Will we be needing a URL for that one? I'm not sure. If you want to post something, do you go to specific URL, or is it I have to ask? When you are performing a put request, do you need a specific path to be mentioned outside of the general one? So it's the same as get mapping. We still have the ID if we are planning to do it to a specific one. Sure, makes sense, I guess. Yeah, I forgot a couple of things first. First is I've probably written the class first. For some reason everything here is not well organized. That should be here, and this entire thing should be up like this. Yes, now I feel more comfortable actually. So public response entity like always, or will we actually if we plan on updating the database, at least I want a confirmation that it was actually successful, and the response should be with the new information. So update user email, yeah, then we have add variable, and we'll be taking basically ID, and we have to specify it's the ID from the annotation that we haven't written yet. Put mapping, and then we have it for ID. And it's long. So now the usual method, we first need actually we should be getting two, not just one. Or actually no, we will be using this method again. The thing is, if we try to use that method again, it will not work because it gives a return as response entity, not necessarily as thing. We will probably be using but where is the new string? We can get the old string, the old username, but how can we get the new username? Should it be given also in the URL? Explain to me how we would handle a post request. Oh wait, I did highlight. Yeah, that's my bad. It's a post request. So I was like, explain to me how do we handle put request. Yes, the update, typical put, URL path, and ID, method is put. So yes, we get the user and we get the ID that we want to update, but what do we get? So I have, for example, here the ID, the name, the email, and the password. Wait, since it's already in the body should be the one containing the name and whatever that we are getting the update of. So we should be actually getting it from the body. So first of all, let's just get the string. We will call it what? Old name. Do we need to get the old name for something? I don't think we need to. No. Just call it new name. It will be equal to the response body from the HTTP request. How do we get the response body? Actually, it's very simple, and we will be also have here request body user. So now everything is clear. The post request, that the put request that we get will not actually have the variables of the old names, but actually the new ones. So we can actually get them through the request body. And after getting them, all we have to do is just to add them. Okay, that's another question. Now that we get the two inputs, how we will be using them? First of all, as always, we said there will always be a try and catch here. So we will first get the ID so that we can get the email. Do we need to? We need the ID to get the user, not necessarily the email. And after we get the user, we will just set the name. I'm starting to understand. So what we actually need to do, first of all, let's put the try and catch before I forgot. So we will need to call on the service method that we will call now public. Yeah, I felt like something was off. That's the user. Everything here also should be pushed down a bit. Yes. Wait, why is it here? Anyway, public, and it shouldn't be giving anything really, unless if it's successful we want to show that the new name. So yeah, sure. String void change email, and then we will say it takes two parameters. It takes the long ID and it takes the string new email. And here we will basically call on the repository. So what repository will be calling for? Find user by email and then set it to the new one. Yes. And where should we put it? Probably in a string. Yeah, string. Or actually no need to even return, just let's say return. What else? Since we have the ID, you should find, yes, we should probably be using that email right here. Get user email by ID, and then we pass the ID, and we say now that we got the email, we don't want necessarily the email, we actually want the class itself. The plot is thickening, so we want to get what the user by ID. So yes, we will use the find user by ID. So we'll make an optional, type user, and then we call it user from now also. What else? Now find user repository, not find user by ID, then we give it the ID here. Now we have the class user. Now we write our if statement and we say if user actually wrote the if user is present, we continue with the code here, and the code will be since now we have the user, we can just type return user dot get dot set email, and then we write it to the new email. Error. Yes, I forgot. We should be getting a return. So yeah, we should probably divide it. So forget, we will not be doing a return here, we will be setting this to else will be through. So I need to actually train myself to do the error handling first. No such element exception, and what we will say, the user couldn't be found. So we couldn't update. And plus I dot get message. No, actually, that's in the try and catch, not here. Never mind. But I haven't done any return. The return that we should be getting is the new string. So return new email. Here, now it makes sense. Change email. And we say so here the response entity, we get the email by ID. I think I probably need a bit. Already used all of my brain power to be to this point. Ah. So the user here will be taking the ID and the email and will be giving a string. So yes, since it's giving a string back, we should also be having a variable that's matching them. So we can actually use user service dot change email, and when we pass the ID and the user. But wait, yes, we made it to a string here. It's actually not a string, it's what's it called? It's the class. Actually, the request body, what can it actually get a specific part of the body or everything? I need to check. What and how exactly does the request body actually handles the HTTP request method? So we figured out how to do the put request. Is used to bind the body of an HTTP request method to a parameter, so all the body, and we cannot get a specific part of the body. And since all the elements in the body are the instant variables of the class user, so yes, okay, so we cannot actually change that part. So we should make a string then, and then we will call it email, and then we will call it to user get email, and then we will mention here the email. In simple, really it wasn't that tough, but and since we now finished the email, we should now structure our response. I always forget how to structure the response because it's something really new to me, handling the response manually like that. So I have to always check how did we do it here. Return response entity dot okay with the response that we actually want. So return response entity dot kill, and the body should be continuing the email. Yes, that's it. Or else return response entity status, it's be status internal server error, an error occurred, and then we get a message, which is the message that we just wrote there. I'll actually need to study this part a bit more, but for now let's just keep it at that. Let's write our comment here, update, I misspelled here. Changing the email value of an old user and gives the new user email back. So that's the post request of the body, and we have Tim. Actually, maybe I should actually rerun the server first, since we put it everything here. We put the put request, get request, post request. Okay, everything seems to be working just fine. So we need more. Where is it? Yep. So we make our post request. Nothing came back, so everything seems to be fine. Here is the get, so that we can get the one with the ID 1 actually. Then we press send and we get Tim. So that's the process. Now to make a new one, HTTP, and we say, actually let me just get the, because it's using the same URL. We say it's a put request, and inside the put request we also specify the body. I think we do. The post request should look something like this. If we have the user email, and actually I need to open the database for that one, so that I don't keep on going back and forth and keep on researching. /c test2 select all from forgot the name of the title, users, and we have 10. So that's the post request that we should be getting. I need to check the JSON format also. Okay, let's just go. Okay, the ID wasn't specified, like I said. Then we paste it here, and then we go to the body. It's raw, it's JSON format, and then we make the change. The request will still have the name and email, but the name will still be Tim. Name and we say the name is Tim. I think we still need to put it like this. This one also had you know what, we will find it after. I don't think. No, everything needed a quotation marks. Well, good to know. Actually, might as well just copy it. I'll try writing it myself, and then name, and we'll say it's Tim, and we'll say email is equal to, we're trying to change the email, right? Since I'm watching Monster right now, so might as well make it Johan at gmail.com, and we send the request. It seems like it worked, but also not. The email is still the same. Okay, debugging time. So what do we have here? So that email is the email that we get from the user, which we got from the body. In this case, this is the body, this is the email, Johan, and it's returning that email again. But wait, we have two emails. We have the normal email, then we have the changed email. What's the difference between them? Let me check something. New email, because we actually don't even need that variable at all. Can actually just do this. Should I rerun? Probably, just in case. Good, no error. Now we try everything again. Put the post request. Everything seems to fine. We see the get request. Everything seems to be fine. Yeah, I mixed it. It should have been a put request, not a post request. Anyway, put request, and then we have tem http /1, since the database already exists of that one, and to make sure, yes. So let's debug. Still getting tem, and no, it's not getting changed. I feel like I already used a lot of my brain power. I don't think the issue is with the... So, the user controller is responsible for the connection. The connection seems to be working just fine, so the issue should be in the service layer. We've got the user, find the user by ID. So, that's the user, which we found by the ID here. And then we set the email to the new email that we get. And then we return the new email. But when we get to the controller, we get the body here, and after we get the body, we get the email out of it. Let me check the body here. The put request body that we got was tem. Okay, that's why. Let's try sending again. Okay, thank you. It's open. My brain was just so tired to find that it was very simple. So okay, good. Actually doing good. We finished the update. Now to delete the user. Don't think we will have any issue with that one, but I need to check. We have put, we have post, we have get. The last one, simple delete. And with that we will be concluding the simple project that we have. I'm not sure if I should actually write it again from scratch or start with a new project, but I think it's an important thing, so I should probably do everything again just to see where I'm missing. Now to make the delete, but actually we say void, say delete user. Should be saved by something. Actually, I need to check the repository for that one. Exists by distinct, delete by ID, or delete by something else. Delete by ID should be fine. and we will be getting the ID here. Long ID. And we don't need that part. Then we need another method here, public. What do we call it? Public. Does it give any information? Don't think so. Just says delete. But it should give a confirmation at least. So what should we write? I'll leave it at white for now. Delete user. And it takes what? I mean, for simplicity purpose, we can just make it the user. User. Actually, that code could have been written like that. There is no reason for us to have this entire thing written here. If we just created that thing out there, we could have, yeah, that's a good point. We can change that part later, but for now let's just focus on the delete user. And then we say, should we also check if the user is present for us to be able to, yeah, I think so. But I also need to check. Delete by ID, and it doesn't necessarily say. Okay, let's just forget about the optional part for now, since we don't have any optional. So we say user repository dot delete by ID get user dot get ID. And then for that part, at delete mapping, we say public response entity, say from type. What do we want to get at then? Probably a string message that says that it was successful. Delete user, then what else? At request yeah, we should also mention the URL here because we are deleting a specific user. So the dash and the specific ID is always mentioned here. Request body. Should we even request the body? No, not really. We can just use the add path variable, say long ID. So as we said, the try and catch will be here, and the if statement will be here if it's present, if the user is present. But forget about that part for now. So let's say try. Actually, should we even do try and catch? I'll leave the try and catch at the end because it's taking a huge toll on my brain to think about it. So what do we return? We will be returning a message if it was successful, but for now let's do it like that. we say response. We actually leave the response at the end. We first want to get the user, so we get the user by this method, get mapping get, but that one will get the email and that one will create the user. Funny that we don't have a get mapping to get the user itself. Okay, I guess we'll use the repository for that. No, sorry, the service. So the first one we need we need user. We say user service dot give email, delete, create. We need to get the user. Why do we need to get the user? We don't need to get the user in its entirety. We just want to delete the user. Not even ID. We don't even need the ID of. Actually, no, we do. User service. It's not a user. Yeah, I was just going to say. We don't even get the user ID. We just need to get the ID. And you just type ID here, really. It doesn't give any return to begin with. And what type of return do we expect here? We just want a string. So okay, we can do it as a string. And we can make it an if statement. And we say here we get optional users. So delete by ID. We have delete by ID. Yes. So we say if we need to create that first, or do we? Yes, we need to create an optional user to get the ID. No, not really. I'm struggling to make the part where we need to check if the user exists or not, because I probably overdid my brain this part. I think that's where I'll stop. No need for me to get everything from here first. That's for something else. I will probably learn it the more I do. But for now, what we will be doing tomorrow is adding if the user is present to delete, because we can't delete if the user isn't there. That should be it. But after I finish the delete, what will be I do? What will I do after? Should probably start. I'll take 1 or 2 days to strengthen all the new stuff that I just got, because they are not yet stuck in my head. But after that, I should probably work on a smaller project, something like a note-taking app, or even something like A to-do list. The to-do list is the most popular one, which I'll probably need to analyze what are the functionalities of the to-do list first. But it already seems complicated, so just thinking about it. And after I finish the to-do list, I'll probably start my practice with Angular, because I need to make the front end. And apparently Angular is the one that people go for in the work environment, so these are small videos, so it wouldn't take that long. So I'll just go over them. And TypeScript, maybe, I'm not sure. I guess I will think about what patch should I get after finishing my first project, but that's thinking too ahead. That's like 1 month from now, probably, if not even higher. But I think that will be it for today, guys. Thank you for